I had built a brand and reputation for solving problems, for building leaders and high-performing teams. And the more I spent on doing those things, the more opportunities presented itself to me. Nike is such a beautiful example of building a brand. And they've done this over decades. They didn't do it by marketing and advertising how their air soles are so much better than Reebok. They did it by partnering with athletes, by focusing on the people. What are you known for? What do people say about you when you're not in the room? That's what brand is. So let's talk about how all of you can do this. 3 things that I want you to keep in mind. Clarity, visibility, and value. When you do these things for a long enough time horizon, you are no longer Sean, the introverted IT nerd. You're Sean, the leadership guy. You're the wolf executive. But it takes time. It's about creating opportunities for you. The more people know who you are, the more people know what you're capable of doing, the more people are going to want to work with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Sean Barnes. Appreciate it.
Perfect. Okay, who has a personal brand? Quick show of hands. Okay. Who wants to focus on building a personal brand? Okay, not a whole lot of hands. So, JD, I could probably come off now. I'm not sure if that makes sense for me to be up here. Now, today I'm going to share my story and my journey and how building a personal brand has been the biggest unlock of my entire life. Each time I share my story, it causes confusion in some, doubt in others, but it inspires a select few. Now, before I get into that, who recognizes this logo? Quick show of hands. Perfect. You know the name of the company. You probably all know the catchphrase or slogan. Since your coffee's hit by now, let's do something fun. On the count of 3, we're all going to yell out the slogan for this logo together. Let's not do it twice. Let's bring the heat the first time, all right? 1, 2, 3.
Just do it.
Damn, that was good. All right, I like it. Now we're going to do the same thing for this logo, a direct competitor. 1, 2, 3. Wow. What did we just see happen? Nike is such a beautiful example of building a brand. And they've done this over decades. They didn't do it by marketing and advertising how their air soles are so much better than Reebok. They did it by partnering with athletes, by focusing on the people. The mothers and fathers, the only time they get alone is to go running at 5 a.m. They partner with them and showcase their story. They've done an incredible job of that. Yeah, that's the Reebok logo. Didn't even know for sure. I started off at a very early age, quiet, shy, reserved. Very much an introvert. I was the young kid at family functions and birthday parties that was not having fun with the ponies and the clowns. And I mean, clowns are weird anyways, but I was always off in the corner trying to find a dog to pet just to pretend that, oh, well, I'm just having fun over here. Because I just felt so uncomfortable around people. And then into junior high and high school, kind of a similar experience. When the pep rallies would come up, the amount of anxiety that I would experience, I just couldn't do it. It stressed me out beyond belief. So at a very early age, I knew I wasn't a people person. All right. There's a few other elements or traits about myself that I also started to pick up early on. One, I was really good at technology. And as a young boy, that started off with RC cars and video games. And then, as you might imagine, progressing into computers. I'm going to date myself. My very first computer for Christmas, I was 11 years old. It was a Gateway 2000 P66 tower. And I see some nodding heads. That's really cool. I got it, unboxed it, and immediately started trying to figure out how to play games on it. But after a few days, this noisy thing down here off to the side of my desk, I wanted to understand what was going on in there. So I finally laid it over, went to pop the top, and then there's obviously the sticker. If you break this seal, you void the warranty. Now, young Sean was also very risk averse. Okay, all right, let's not do that. And then 2 days go by. All right, you know what? Screw it. We're going to do this. And I opened it up. I started pulling everything apart on the carpet. I didn't know any better. My dad comes home from work, and he walks in. Computer looks like it's exploded all over the floor, and he just walks out immediately. My mom comes running in, put it together right now, and it better work. And I did, and it worked. Yay, exactly. So I knew, all right, technology, cool. There was a third element about myself that I learned at an early age, and that I was driven beyond belief. I knew that I was going to climb that corporate ladder and do big things. So as you might imagine, you tie all of those things together, and a career in IT just makes sense. I could do all of those things hiding behind my keyboard with the office light off and the door closed. So I did. I set very specific and targeted goals for myself. By the time I was 25, I was going to have a manager title. By the time I was 30, that coveted six-figure salary. By the time I was 35, VP title. And like clockwork, every single time I hit my target. Relentless pursuit of achieving my goals, all from behind my keyboard. And then I started struggling a little bit. I was feeling a little bit lost, like I didn't really have a purpose. What goal do I want to set for the time I'm 40? Do I want to be a CIO? Do I want to start my own company? That sounds kind of risky. And this is the first time I started working with a coach and intentionally finding mentors. And after a few months, I came to realize that I wasn't being challenged anymore. My very first job, I was 16 working for a small computer repair shop in Conroe. So by my mid-30s, this is 2 decades in technology, and it just came easy. The applications were running, the servers were up, the printers were printing. All right, so how do I find a challenge? This started off by having conversations with the vice presidents and presidents of the different business units. Hey, I know that you guys are struggling with a few things. Can I maybe help you out? You're a support function. This is operations. Leave operations to the big boys. Oh, okay, all right. Well, hey, how about you guys? I know that y'all are struggling with management of resources and equipment on jobs and things like that. I'm pretty good at project management. Can I help? No, my printer works. I'm fine. I'll let you know if I need your help. All right, cool. That went on for a period of time, and then finally, an opportunity presented itself. For the first 4 years of my time at the company that I was working for, we had 4 vice presidents of HR come and go. It was just this revolving door. We couldn't find the right fit. And after the 4th one departed, I thought, I could do that. So I found my boss, our CEO, in the hallway and said, I would love an opportunity to start leading human resources. And she looked around like we were playing a prank on her and said, okay, fine. Let's, I guess, find some time on my calendar. We'll talk about it. All right, cool. So keep in mind, still very uncomfortable and nervous, not very well spoken. A few weeks go by, I walk into the big corner office of the CEO and I sit down. I had 2 primary selling points or pitches. The first was, I'm really good at solving problems. If I could just get in there, I could figure this thing out. She wasn't convinced. The next selling point that I had was that I had some free time. I had some capacity. And I thought it was a good point, but because context is important, this was for an oil and gas company during the downturn of 2015 and 16. I was a newly minted vice president of IT, and we had just laid off 60% of the company. And here I am telling the CEO, I don't have much to do. And she looked at me almost to think, are you sure you want to have just said that? The room got so hot instantly, hotter than this room. And I thought, oh boy, what have I just done? But she took it in stride. We kept having a good conversation. And I thought, all right, this is actually going pretty well. At the end of the conversation, she leans in and she says, Sean, it's people like you that have made this company so great. It's people like you that will continue to make this company great. That being said, we're going to hire an HR executive that actually knows HR. Oh. In an instant, my big, beautiful ego was shattered, but my logic brain knew she was right. Yes, ma'am, I will go somewhere not here now. Again, awkward. A few days go by, and I basically got into this headspace of, you know what, this is just going to be a coasting season for me in my life. All right, fine. So an email comes through. Sean, I just want to thank you again for stepping up during this challenging time. Hopefully you understand that I need to do what's best for the corporation. Yeah. But it was the last sentence that got me. If you'd like to discuss this further, my door is always open. Okay, I'm picking up what you're putting down. A few days go by. Hey-o, me again. And this time I went in with more intentionality. I was real and raw and vulnerable and said, look, I don't know employment law. I don't know payroll processes. I don't understand my own benefits, let alone putting a plan together for the entire company. But I do know structure. I know how to map out and improve processes. And I believe these are the things that we have been struggling with in HR historically. Give me a year. Give me 1 year to integrate the people, processes, and technology and create a foundation. Once my year is up, I will step back. I will interview. I will help you find the next HR executive that can launch off of that foundation. Can I have a day to think about it? Well, yes, ma'am. Sleepless night ensues. The next day a phone call comes. Sean, I've spoken with all of the senior executives and we want you to continue being the vice president of IT and HR. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. When do I start? Today. I'm going to send a notice out to the entire company. When I do, you can meet with your team and get started. Now, this is where things got interesting because I sat down, started meeting with all 19 members of the HR team, and quickly came to realize that I could not lead all of these bubbly, extroverted, outgoing people from behind my keyboard. I was going to have to learn effective communication. I was going to have to learn how to make and maintain eye contact and inspire and influence and understand the desires, hopes, and dreams and skills of the people in the HR team and understand the needs of the business and marry those things together. And when you do, some incredible things start to occur. When you pour everything you have into Jason and helping remove roadblocks so that he can be successful. And you do the same for Sharon and purchase the module that she needs and give her the training that she needs and then create opportunities for Kristen. All ships rise with the tide. We all got better. We all leveled up together. After my year was up, phone call. Hey, things are going so well. People actually want to work with HR, so that's cool. You're keeping it. Oh, all right. Was there anything else I can support with? Yes, we need a project management office for all of the acquisitions and integrations. And we need an ESG team. Our customers are starting to ask for that. All right, so I know about project management from all the M&A I've been a part of in the past. Nothing about ESG in oil and gas, but let's learn. Let's figure it out. So this trend started to emerge where I ascended to the top in IT and started over in HR. Ascended in HR, started over in ESG. I led all of those functions for a few years, and then another phone call came. We want you to start leading safety and transportation and leadership development as well. Ooh, that's a lot. I'm not sure I'm the guy for that. Oh, okay. Well, here's what we're going to pay you. You know what? This sounds like a great opportunity for me to learn, and I think I can support you in this. So after a few years of leading IT, HR, PMO, ESG, HSC, DOT, and leadership development, I decided, what's next? I had gotten increasingly proficient at starting from the bottom and building my way up. I decided to start my own company, focused on executive coaching, leadership development, personal branding. And let me tell you, you can jump domains in corporate America, but starting a business is an entirely different animal. I've come to appreciate and value adversity. Because when you approach life through a lens of, hey, this is really difficult for me, how can I learn? How can I grow? Things change for you. Now, at this point, you're probably asking, Sean, this is a cool story, bro, but what does this have to do with building a personal brand? Everything. I believe it has everything to do with building a personal brand. And I'm going to tie it all together for you now. Let's think about some other big brands. Lamborghini. What comes to mind when you hear Lamborghini? Yell it out. Tractors. This guy knows history. All right. Cars. What else? Speed. What's that? Racing. Exactly. Speed, racing, luxury, cars. Automotive supremacy. Another big brand, Louis Vuitton. Bags and stuff. Like, I don't know what all they do, but I know they have a reputation for it. They sell furniture. I didn't know that they sold furniture. That is probably very pricey furniture. Yes.
Buy a house or buy a couch.
Yeah. All right. So let's break brand all the way down to its most basic form. One word, association. What are you known for? What do people say about you when you're not in the room? That's what brand is. And people can talk about brand as integrity, brand as support. It's all of these things. It's association. I had built a brand and reputation for solving problems, for building leaders and high-performing teams. And the more I spent on doing those things, the more opportunities presented itself to me. So let's talk about how all of you can do this. 3 things that I want you to keep in mind. Clarity, visibility, and value. Clarity is what you are known for. Each and every one of you has a personal brand. Whether you know it or not, you have a brand, you have a reputation. For us to start, we have to understand what that is. We have to understand what other people say about us. And this is going to involve some uncomfortable conversations, maybe with friends, colleagues, sitting down and saying, hey, Jason, I am really trying to be a better leader. I'm trying to grow. Can you give me some feedback on things that I do well and things that I need to do better? Perfect. Chris, same conversation. Sally, same conversation. Perfect. Now you have data points. And then if you're extra bold, go have that conversation with your arch nemesis. Every one of you had a name just pop into your head. That is going to be the uncomfortable conversation, but it's data points. All right, we have our baseline. Now, let's think about what we want to be known for. Do you want to be known as the problem solver? Do you want to be known as the cybersecurity expert that everybody comes to? Do you want to be a CISO, a CIO, a board member? You have to be very clear on what you want to become, and then you start having conversations with people that have achieved those things, that have stepped into those roles. Hey, can you give me some guidance on what I need to learn to get here? And you're going to start figuring out what you need to learn. Baseline, future state, gap assessment. What skills do you need to learn along the way to step into this greater version of yourself? Visibility. As you go on this journey, visibility is important. I always encourage people to think about how they show up in meetings, at conferences, how they show up when they send an email. A lot of times we get into this mindset of, oh, I'm just sharing the facts, the data, and you come across as a pompous ass in your email. Think about how you are being perceived whenever you communicate, especially virtually. Now, LinkedIn and social media, the bane of many of you's existence, I would imagine. I know it was for me. It is an incredibly powerful tool to help with visibility. And you don't have to become a content creator. You don't have to start leveraging AI for content at scale, but you do have to do something. If your LinkedIn profile has the default banner and your profile picture is you wearing sunglasses holding a fish, what message does that send? Probably not CIO and board member. Or maybe it does. But you need to think about what your online presence looks like. Interestingly, if you post one piece of content a week, you are in the top 1% of LinkedIn creators. I'm going to let you sit with that because that's pretty darn easy to do. And you can start with reposting, but then sharing your thoughts. And then maybe you write a little bit of an article on something that you learned. Maybe you connect with 4 people here at the event like JD asked you to, and then you tag them. You take a picture with them and you tag them, hey, I learned about this at the cybersecurity summit. This guy got up and started talking about wolves and branding and all sorts of stuff at the summit. Start creating some content and getting yourself out there. The most important piece, value. I want each and every one of you to approach every exchange with the intent of giving more value than you take. Give more than you take. And yes, it is absolutely exhausting to do this. It is not easy. It is a ton of work. You need to be clear on who you are and where you're going. You need to lean into visibility. You need to lean into providing value. As you go on this journey, share the lessons with as many people as possible. And what you will find is you will start to see results. And these results will initially come in increased awareness of who you are from the senior executives. And then they might start coming to you asking for feedback and guidance. If you have a brand and reputation for shutting them down because you're protecting the corporation, instead of having a reputation for, hey, this is difficult, we have to secure this, we need to do it this way, one is going to yield far better results with the executives. They're going to want to work with you instead of just going off in the next vendor that comes in selling them and you have to deal with shadow IT. That's not what we want. We want to build our own reputation. And when you start building a strong enough reputation, you will be invited to more events like this. You might be invited up onto this stage to sit on a panel or moderate or do a fireside chat or even do a keynote. These are the types of results that you can look forward to when you are intentional. And yes, there are strategies around content scheduling and how you get this stuff out there. I would recommend work with somebody who's a professional or expert on that stuff, but you can absolutely do that. Why? That's the question. This is a tremendous amount of work. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It takes time and energy and effort and intentionality. When you do these things for a long enough time horizon, you are no longer Sean, the introverted IT nerd. You're Sean, the leadership guy. You're the wolf executive. But it takes time. It's about creating opportunities for you. The more people know who you are, the more people know what you're capable of doing, the more people are going to want to work with you. The more people are going to want to work for you. The more people are going to want to have you come work for them. You will be spoiled for choice. When you step into a life of abundance and you get to choose who you get to work with, your life changes. Tired of that idiot boss? Tired of that toxic company culture? Cool, I'm going to make a phone call. I'm going to go somewhere better. I'm going to go somewhere where I can focus on something where I can actually make a difference. When you are spoiled for choice, you create an environment where you can provide a better life for yourself. You can provide a better life for your family, for your children, and your dogs. Every time I come to an event, I always print off a couple of these little booklets. It's 10 pages, gives you step-by-step actionable items that you can focus on. Super simple, tactical, easy stuff. Who wants one? Shit. Okay, I did not print off wow. Okay, I didn't anticipate that. I can get it to you online. I promise you. I will be walking around. Come find me. Come find Mary, and we will absolutely make sure that you get a copy of this. JD, I didn't know there was going to be so many people here. All right, I'm going to be bouncing around for the rest of the day. Hopefully, this has provoked some thought. A lot of people think that content creation is what you have to do. That's just a small piece of it. Focus on providing value and delivering results and learning new skills and sharing your journey.